Morning, profitable traders. Welcome to today's market follow session, being the 17th of October 2025. So good to have each and every one of you around for this session. Right, so for this segment on market follow session, I will be analyzing DXY, GBP USD, and Euro USD. Right after that, my colleague will be coming up for his analysis on gold and yen basket. So let's head straight to the chart for today's analysis. And we usually would like to start from DXY. On the monthly time frame for DXY overall, price was bullish, ranged a bit, and we saw a sweep of this liquidity right here, all the way to the downside. And on the weekly time frame also, on the weekly time frame, we've been seeing price breaking even lower. So we have the opinion that we may see price retrace all the way to this left shoulder, residing at 107.581 before continuing the sell to the downside and coming down to the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, we've seen price break above this high. All right, so fibbing from point A to point B. At this point, price is at 61.8% fib level. Right, but let's narrow down to the 4-hour time frame to see what price is doing. So price failed to take out this high, the high residing at 99.125. Instead, price just traded into this level, this resistance level, and we're seeing more push to the downside, breaking this very low right here at 98.445 on the 4-hour time frame. And coming down to the 1-hour time frame, let's see what price did. So as a Wednesday, I was of the opinion that we were going to see price retrace all the way to the left shoulder at 98.995. Price didn't do that. Instead, we saw price selling off all the way to the downside on DXY. Although this price point is still very valid because we haven't even seen price trade into it, and we haven't even seen a break of structure yet. Right, a box pattern failure, I beg your pardon. We haven't seen a box pattern failure to change our bias from a sell to a buy, right? So I'm still of the opinion that we will most likely see price retrace all the way into 98.995 on the 1-hour time frame on DXY. On the 15 minutes time frame too, that's what price did on the 15 minutes per time frame. Pretty much the same thing. Price was meant to react into this level, and once price gets there, we were supposed to sell off. But instead, we're seeing that the sell pressure was so high in the market that price didn't even retrace right back into our point of interest. Instead, we saw price, selling all the way to the downside. But coming down here, I can actually spot the classic box pattern for a sell in the 15 minutes time frame. Shoulder at this level, shoulder at 98.507, right? Sweep to the upside, break to the downside. We want to see price retracing right back into the left shoulder at 98.507 on the 15 minutes time frame. Going down to GBP, Euro USD, I beg your pardon. On Euro USD, let's see what price is doing. Overall, right, we saw price breaking structure to the downside overall. And then coming down here, we saw price range for a period of time. And then we saw the sweep of this liquidity all the way to the upside. Coming down to the weekly time frame, on the weekly time frame, seeing that has happened on the monthly time frame, this is what we expect to see price do on the weekly time frame. There's a shoulder at 1.06762. There's a sweep to the downside, a break to the upside. What we want to see price do is for price to retrace right back into the left shoulder at 1.06762 on the weekly time frame. And once that happens, I'm willing to buy Euro USD. Coming down to the daily time frame, on daily time frame, we also spotted the classic box pattern for a buy, shoulder at 1.15579, sweep to the downside, break to the upside, price retraced and returned right back into the left shoulder at 1.15579, and we're seeing a reaction of that point. Coming down to the 4-hour time frame also, on the 4-hour time frame, there's even something more interesting right here that I'm seeing and I'm spotting. Right, so the classic box pattern also, shoulder at 1.16006, we're seeing a sweep right here to the downside, a break to the upside. We may see price retrace when price we may see price react, I beg your pardon, when price retraces into 1.16006. There are 2 points of interest that I'm looking out to buy Euro USD from on the 4-hour time frame. The first one is the left shoulder residing at 1.16006. And my second point of interest is when price retraces into this fair value gap right here. The fair value gap right here. Right, calling out the price point, I will be interested in buying. My second point of interest for buying Euro USD is when I see price retracing to 1.15752 on the 4-hour time frame. Let's see what price is doing on the 1-hour time frame. On the 1-hour time frame, pretty much, right? Shoulder at 1.15565, sweep to the downside, seeing break all the way to the upside. So I'm looking out for price to retrace deeply into 1.15565. So for today, I'm looking out for a sell to buy, a sell into this left shoulder on 1-hour time frame at 1.15565. And once price gets there, I will be longing Euro USD. So yeah, pretty much if I see an entry for the sell, I will do well to call it out. If I see an entry for the sell of Euro USD, of course the sell is short term. We're just catching a retracement into the left shoulder residing at 1.15565. And last on my list being GBP USD. In monthly time frame, overall price was bearish. But coming down here, we're seeing structure. The most recent price action, we're seeing structure to the upside. And on the weekly time frame, I see right here, right. So we saw price clear out the high residing at 1.33941. Right. So there's the classic box pattern right here. Shoulder at 1.24930, sweep to the downside, break to the upside. Once price retraces into 1.24930, and moving to long GBP USD. And coming down to the daily time frame also. In daily time frame, right, we spotted the left shoulder right here, shoulder sweep, break, and price was meant to react off this left shoulder, but we saw price retracing all the way to tap into this daily order block. Coming down to the 4-hour time frame, let's see what price has for us. Pretty much, I can spot the classic box pattern, pretty straightforward. Shoulder at 1.33286. We've seen a sweep to the downside and a break to the upside. What we want to see price do is for price to retrace right back into the left shoulder at 1.33286 on the 4-hour time frame. And coming down to the 1-hour time frame, let's see what price has for us. Pretty much coinciding with what's going on the 4-hour time frame. Shoulder at 1.33286, sweep to the downside, break to the upside. Once price retraces into the left shoulder at 1.33286, I will be longing GBP USD. Let's narrow down to the much lower time frames to see if we could see opportunities for a sell. We're looking out for a sell to buy, sell into a point of interest, and a buy off our point of interest. Please, if you have questions at this point, kindly type in the chat box, or if you have a different bias from everything that has been analyzed, please do well to type in the chat box. and we'll be looking at your questions and your different buyers together. And while we're doing that, I'd like to announce that registration for the FX Bootcamp training is currently ongoing. The training will be taking place from 27th of October. So, to reserve your slot, kindly chat us up on 081 6099 5030 so that we can help you out with the registration process. If there are no questions, we're going on a very brief break. And right after that, Lekon will be coming up for his analysis on gold and yen baskets. You know how insightful his analysis can be. So please don't go anywhere. We'll be back very shortly for the second segment of today's market conversation.
Good morning, welcome to the market call brought to you by the Value Flow Trading Team. I want to believe you can hear me loud and clear. Good morning, everyone. And that was an insightful analysis from Cynthia. So this morning we are going to be heading to the analysis of the precious metal, right? To see what exactly do we have going on the precious metal and how we can use that to our favor, take trades. And from there, we are going to be taking a quick move to Japan to see what is going on the yen basket and where we are currently on the yen basket. Now, let's sit back to see what we have so far on the precious metal. I would like us to start the precious metal from the monthly time frame so that we know what exactly we are on right now, because there's a particular trend we observe since the sometimes last 2023. Now, if you look at it from the monthly time frame, you're going to observe in the last almost more than a year or so, since February, let's push it all the way back to October 2023. That was when we have the Israel-Hamas war breaking out. And since this particular period, you can observe price has been very bullish all the way to the upside, very, very bullish. We've not seen a very clear pullback at all on the precious metal so far. All we are seeing is price just, turning all the way to the upside. And there's been a lot of speculation so far that we are most likely to see price, trade all the way into either 4,500 or 5,000 level. Yes, so if we want to mark that, we can just have our line marked out for the 5,000 level for precious metal for the year. So we are expecting that all things being equal, there's still high probability that price is still going to trade all the way to this level, and or of recent we may likely see price trade all the way to 4,500 level. Remember, on Monday we were around 4,025 or so, and we expect that we are still going to see price trade all the way to 4,500 level. So let's anticipate price, trading all the way to the 4,500 level, somewhere around this zone, right? So somewhere around this zone, we are most likely going to see price trade into this particular level, which is the 4,500 level. Now, because we've had all this trend move to the upside, we should expect some level of pullback, right? And that is, we've had 3 consecutive candles, 3 consecutive months all the way to the upside. So we should be expecting some pullback. And I'm suspecting towards the mid of October, which is starting from next week, we are most likely going to see pullback of the precious metal, just a brief pullback, then price attaining the 4,000, 5,000 level rather, or we should either see price trade into 5,000 level at market open on Monday, then we begin to see the pullback. Because even from the weekly time frame, if you look at it very well, from the weekly time frame, all we are seeing now is price is heavily bullish. Even after the whole consolidation here, we see the breakout, and since the past few weeks, about 7 to 8 weeks now, we've not seen any pullback from price at all. So we expect that to happen anytime soon. So if you are the type that trades based on one direction, like your psychology pattern is stick to a single direction whenever price is trending, you have made a lot of money all the way from this particular level. You'll have made a lot of money because anytime you just press your buy, price has been buying. But the moment we begin to see the pullback, then it may be a very hard one. So you just have to adjust a bit, right? But expect that price is most likely going to get to the 4,500 level. Now, on the daily time frame, what do we have going on the daily time frame of the precious metal? We are going to observe today being Monday, being Friday rather, price already created a new high again all the way into the 4,380.990, right? And now we are expecting, today being Friday, we are expecting some level of bearishness in the market, meaning after the whole long, then we should see some level of pullback. Remember, last week Thursday, we had some level of pullback in the market, which is this bearish candle you see. So we expect today to be that way, or there's high probability today's candle closing either as an indecision candle or a bearish candle. We want to believe this is going to be the high of the week for the precious metal since the opening on Monday, right? Now let's go to the lower time frame to check where do we have entries so that we can join if there's any opportunity for us. On the 4-hour time frame, nothing much there is telling us that everywhere is still very much bullish. And on the 1-hour time frame, no market structure shift. Instead, if you are the kind of trader that trade only order blocks so far, you would have made a lot of money from the market for the past few weeks, because we've observed price has just been reacting all through to the upside. And just as you can see, yesterday, early this hour, around at 2 a.m., price tapped into this and pulled all the way again. So that has been the way most people have been getting their money from the market, if you observe it all the way to the downside too. But on the 1-hour time frame, we are seeing is price still pushing all the way to the upside. We've not seen a clear market structure shift. Even on the lower time frame, I checked that this morning too. We've not seen a very clean market structure shift. Instead, all we should just be observing and doing right now for the market structure for the precious metal is wherever we see a support being broken, turn resistance, when price pull back to that level, we join the buy. But seeing that price is already highly overpriced, like we are heading to 4,500 level. So the remaining move to that point, all we need to see is when we see a reference point like an order block or a resistance that was broken, we expect it to turn a support, and we can easily follow through with the move to the 4,500 or even 5,000 level. So looking at that on 15-minute time frame, there is no entry unless you want to gamble. So this is one of the days you just wait for your setup to show up and you follow up, right? So that is for the precious metal. On the 5-minute time frame too, the same thing is clearly happening there. We've not really seen any real move on the 5-minute time frame, right? This is it. I know most people will be like, hey, is this not a boss pattern? No, this is not a boss pattern. This is just a simple M curve forming so far so good, which means when you see this come up and at the same time this, you can easily follow to the downside. But since market already pushed so far to the downside since 6 a.m., so you don't want to just jump into it. However, I'm saying that because price really did not tap into this order block, and it already tapped into the reference point, so it's no more necessary because there's a fair value gap here that price already tapped into. I didn't mean we see price still within this zone and it has not really tapped into this fair value gap. I would have said that we should wait for price at this 5-minute order block and give it a try. But what we are seeing right now, there is high tendency we see price just pull all the way back. But two things: if price gets to this level, you can see on the 5-minute time frame, this was a resistance that has been broken and price turned into a support. Now, two things happening is going to happen rather. If we see price break through this particular zone that we marked to the downside, then we can easily now just sell for the meantime. Meaning, if price does this and break this level to the downside, then all we need to do is wait, allow price to pull back into that zone again. We look out for our entry signature, which is a bearish engulfing for this sell, then we can easily sell because we expect a pullback for the week, which is the sell, right? So this is going to be my analysis for the precious metal for today, right? So that is that on the precious metal from the higher time frame to the lower time frame. Now a quick one to Japan to see what exactly is going on the yen basket. Starting from the weekly time frame of the yen basket, you are going to observe our analysis. Since the last week, we've been expecting that the yen should, sell into our POI, and since it got into our POI for this week, we expect a massive buy to the upside, and that is exactly what has been playing out since Monday. Even our trade setup too. Remember, this has been it since Monday for the yen basket. We've been expecting price to rally all the way to the upside. However, on the weekly time frame, I think yes, on the weekly time frame of the yen basket, there's a level I'm looking out for that we may likely see price react from, and this is it exactly here, which we marked already is a typical boss pattern. Yes, it may not look very obvious, but if you look into it deeply, you are going to observe this is a shoulder here. We've seen a liquidity sweep on the daily time frame. So we've seen price take out all these guys here, this liquidity around this level. Price already took it out, right? And since price does that, what we now look out for is price after breaking structure 2 around this level on the daily time frame. We've seen a structure break somewhere here, and price has already pulled back into that shoulder. That's why we are seeing this reaction all the way. Now, what would this now be mean to the yen correlated pair? Since we've seen buy, then we should see some level of pullback because of this reference point. And you can see this is a fair value gap both to the left and right, which we call IOFPP, and we have the shoulder there. That's where price starts into. So the next thing we are expecting is we expect some level of pullback before the continuation. Now, where is the pullback going to get to before we move out of this particular zone? Let's quickly look into that. Now, I expect that the pullback should get into maximum 50% of this last buy swing, meaning price coming all the way into somewhere here for the day, right, for the yen basket. So the pullback that we are seeing here as a result of this shoulder is going to happen and is going to get to maybe highly most to the 0.5%, which is 50% fib level, and we continue to buy all the way to the upside, because the overall move on the weekly time frame, price already got into a key level and we expect it to buy all the way to the upside. So all we're expecting is, because we already see more of a shoulder too, we are still expecting price to trade all the way to this zone on the weekly time frame. And as a matter of fact, take out all these liquidity, all this diagonal liquidity. Now, as a result of this going on the yen basket, what should we look out for on the yen correlated pair, starting with GBP JPY? Now, for GBP JPY on the weekly time frame, we already see what price has done so far so good, and we expect that price will start, collapsing to the downside because of the move we've seen on the yen basket. Now, but for the daily time frame, what do we have happening there? Remember, we said this week that we expect a sell all the way to come and cover at least 50% of this void that was open at last week market open. Right now, where exactly should price get into? We have so many reference points at this particular level. First, we have this that we have here is looking more like a failed boss pattern. So we are expecting that price is going to, since we have a failed boss pattern as a result of that jump, so we are expecting that price is going to trade all the way into this zone, this particular zone that we have. And at the same time, if you look at it from another angle too, you are going to observe this was a strong resistance that was broken. So price should pull into it and turn support. And at the same time, we have a breaker, an order block that failed, which should act as a breaker block at that level. So the whole of this place is going to be a very strong place for price to pull back a bit, then now collapse properly. Now, this is what I'm trying to say in a nutshell for the yen back at GBP JPY. We are going to see price trading to this place, and when price got there, we would see something of this nature retrace back into the zone, then proper break to the downside. And when we have the proper break to the downside, then this boss pattern will now finally hold. We are going to see price retrace to this zone and we will start selling to the downside again. So that is the outlook we have on the GBP JPY. Now let's use that to interpret on our lower time frame 4 hours. What are the entry signatures that we have there, and how can we, maximize it and take it for our trade? Looking at the levels we have right now, and this is even confirming what we just analyzed on the daily time frame, as price already, pulling to the downside. So we want to see a trade all the way to this zone, and when it gets there, it should come a little bit more to the upside here to take out this liquidity level, which happens to show up like a double top here. So when price takes out this zone, we are going to begin to see a sell. As a matter of fact, there's still high tendency. We see price fade into this order block, and when price get there, to now collapse properly to the downside. Now it has covered half of this gap, pull back, take out liquidity, tap into a reference point, then we begin to see the sell all the way to the downside. Now let's go to the lower time frame from the 1 hour to 15 minutes to see what is the now trade, what is the opportunity you and I can take in the market. For the 1 hour time frame, all I'm seeing on the 1 hour time frame is market structure already shifted to the downside. So we still expect more sell before the buy now push all the way back up. And as a result of that, I'm observing this would have been a very good shoulder for us to sell from, but this particular high did not take out this liquidity. So if price starts pulling back to the upside, it's going to clear these two highs clean and forward, right? So let's just go to the 15-minute time frame to check entry for the day on our 15-minute time frame. For 15-minute time frame, we've not really seen any clear entry so far, so good. What I'm just seeing is an execution entry, showing up right now for a buy, but because price has not really gotten to our POI for a sell, right? And that is why we won't jump into this. If not, so this signature we are having showing up right now is really a very clean one for a buy. You see this at a reference point, then we are pulling trigger to buy. But because what is showing up here right now, there's a more level for price to still pull to the downside. So unless you just want to give it a trial, and this is going to be a low probability trade, meaning it may not really deliver what it's ought to. And you can see the momentum the sellers are using to put this particular, pushing this particular candle. This is telling us this is an inverted hammer showing up here, and you know what that means, telling us there are still strong sellers in the market, unless if the buyers want to outshine them there. All right, so that is what we have there. We can just lastly look at the 5-minute time frame, and we've not seen, there's no any market structure shift on 5 minutes. Unless we see a market structure shift on 5 minutes, then that's when we can easily join that. And lastly, before we call it a day, for EUR JPY for the day, what do we have going on EUR JPY? For EUR JPY on the lower time frame, higher time frame, we have similar thing showing up on the higher time frame too. But if you look at the daily time frame for EUR JPY, it has also moved all the way towards the entry. We have similar thing playing out. As a matter of fact, it's much more showing up clearly on the EUR JPY because of this breaker block here. That's where price is reacting from. But for GBP JPY, you still see this signature is still below on GBP JPY, and for EUR JPY, price has not really, traded into the gap. Price has not really traded into the gap, so we still expect more of price to trade into the gap, and then we can follow through to the upside. All right, but let's check 15-minute time frame if there's any entry signature for us on EUR JPY. Oh, for EUR JPY on the 15-minute time frame, we have similar pattern on the GBP JPY. If you want to give it a try, you can easily do that. Just that is not really a very clear move, but I'm still expecting price to trade all the way to this level on EUR JPY. Allow price to trade to this level if you just want to take that particular trade. As a matter of fact, this fair value gap here, you can watch out. If price gets there and gives your entry signature, you can easily follow through to the upside and just do your 1:2 and get out of the market, right? So that is the analysis for the day on the yen correlated pair, right? So that is that. If there's any question or any contribution, you can easily type in the chat box. And if there is none, this is going to be the end of the market call-up brought to you by the Value Flow Trading team, right? If there's any question, I would like to take some of our questions before we call it a. So this is it for EUR JPY, and all we are expecting is price coming here, and we can easily follow through to the upside, right? So we are expecting something like this, trading this fair value gap and push all the way up, right? So that is it for EUR JPY. There are no further questions. This is going to be the end of the market call brought to you by the Value Flow Trading team. We meet again by 2 p.m. for the New York recap. I know fully well today is the end of the week, last trading day of the week. The New York recap today is going to be a very great one, right? See you. Make sure you invite someone to join the market call up for the New York session. To be made by that time, trade cautiously and use your proper risk management strategy. Once again, I'm going to share me. Cheers and God bless.